Hello YouTube and welcome to my Genshin Impact version 3.5 game plan. Hopefully this is going to be useful to you. I'll go over some of the things that I know of that are going to be happening in version 3.5 as of right now. And let's go ahead and get started on how I did with the banners in 3.4. Well, in 3.4, the only banner I really wished on was Alhaitham. But what I was really trying to get was C6 Xinyan, which is what I got. I also got C5 Yunjin. I really wasn't confident that Alhaitham was really going to be a big factor for my lineup. He was certainly going to be better for me than Zhao, which is why I went on his banner. But fortunately, Kuching saved me from having to deal with him. So, Yao Yao kind of ended up not being pulled at all because I ended up getting Xinyan and Yunjin both to C5 with the pulls. I got Xinyan to C6 with the invite from the event. There'll probably be plenty of time to worry about Yao Yao later, but we'll move on, I guess. But the good thing is I'm moving on with the guarantee in place. So now that we've covered that, let's take a look at the Phase 1 banners. We have Dea and we have Sino, and we also know that the 4 stars are going to be Barbara, Bennett, and Kale. I would imagine a lot of you are looking at Bennett as being the primary 4-star for this one. He has certainly earned his reputation of being one of the best 4 stars in the game. I will maintain, as long as I am doing these videos, that Barbara is the best healer in the game. There are a lot of other really good healers. Barbara is one of 2 that I know of that can revive characters, and she does that at C6. And if the character cannot revive characters, as far as I'm concerned, they're not in Barbara's category. Chi-Chi can do it too, but Barbara is a lot more cost-effective than Chi-Chi is. So that's just me. Now, the big thing to think about for the 5 stars is that Dea, after version 3.5, will be part of the standard set of 5-star characters. So it should be the 7th character on that list. So I've heard from a lot of people saying that, well, why would we pull her now when we can get her from losing to 50-50 later on? That is completely up to you as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of people who want Dea because she's Dea. And so to them, I say pull her now. Because right now, your chances of getting Dea on a 5-star pull on her character banner is 50-50. It's 100% if you have the guarantee in place. After this, you have to lose to 50-50, and you have to beat a 1 in 7 chance to get Dea specifically. So, I mean, it's up to you. If I really wanted Dea, I'd get her now. It'd be that's what I have to say about that. And what goes double is her weapon. Given that she's unlikely to have a character banner going forward, this weapon could be all but lost to time after version 3.5. So if you want this weapon for any reason whatsoever, the weapon banner is where it's at, as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of people hate the weapons banner. A lot of people think it's a scam. You know, it's if you want this weapon, that's what you gotta deal with. Unfortunately, I know we don't have Sino's weapon on the screen right now. Sino's weapon, I think, has a lot of good usage for other pole arms if you end up with that one and you don't end up with Sino. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, as far as the Phase 2 banners, more likely than not, this is where my primos are likely to end up. I do not have Ayaka unlocked right now, but I do have Shenhe C0. I'm not really worried about Mika right now. Kind of more focused on the 5 stars right now. And honestly, I could go either way on either one of them. Sometimes I look at it and think, I probably should get an actual cryo DPS instead of a support that I'm trying to make look like a DPS. Or maybe the right thing to do is just to get a constellation star in Shenhe because I use her frequently. As far as their weapons, Ayaka's sword, Mistbuilder Reforged, is a good weapon for almost anyone. I would imagine if you're going through the trouble of pulling her weapon that you already have her, but there are other sword users that can use her weapon. As for Shenhe, Calamity Queller kind of belongs to her exclusively. I kind of looked up and down the list of pole arm users. I don't really see anyone else that weapon really fits even remotely close. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about the weapons banner. But for me, I'm looking primarily at the character banner when this kind of rolls around, and I'm unlikely to mess with anything in phase one. All right, that's the banners. Let's take a look at some of the new Archon quests and stories that are coming out. We have a new Archon quest, and this one, in order to complete it, you have to first do Archon Quest Chapter 3, Act 5, which is the conclusion of Sumero's story. You do not necessarily need to do the interlude first, and keep that prerequisite in mind because that prerequisite is going to come up a lot in this little presentation. But yes, this one I will probably be doing as soon as I do my first Twitch stream for 3.5. Also included with this is the new story quest for Dea. The same prerequisite applies, Archon Quest Chapter 3, Act 5. Please, I know I ask this every time I talk about story quests, do not unlock it until you're ready to play it, because you never know how this is going to collide with other quests that you may have open. And I thought that they were done with the Hangouts, and apparently they are not. And we're going to have Farazan's Hangout event. I don't know what to think about this. First of all, same prerequisite for this. All three of these, the Archon Quest, Dea, and Farazan, they'll be available from this point going forward as soon as the S3.5 is available. I will be doing Dea's story quest on YouTube. I'll also be doing this on YouTube. I feel like YouTube gives me a much better way to stream the Hangout events, because it helps you by not having to have me step through every single thing that I've already seen 5 times. The Hangouts are usually not my thing. Some of the Hangouts have been pretty good. Some of the Hangouts have been a chore to get through. So I'm really kind of hoping this is going to be the former. All right, here's our big event for version 3.5, Wind Plume's Breath. This will begin on March 3rd, so do not log into 3.5 for the very first time and expect to see this online and ready to go. Starts on March 3rd, ends on March 20th. Officially, you need to be Adventure rank 18, and you need to have completed Mondstadt's chapter in the Archon Quest, which I believe is the prologue. It also recommends that you complete Albedo's story quest, which I would say, knowing what's in that story quest, you can take it or leave it. If you haven't completed that, I wouldn't rush right in to do it just for the sake of getting into Windbloom's Breath. Up to you. But the other recommended requirement for this event is Archon Quest Chapter 3, Act 5. there is there's a potential for some medium to I would say medium spoilers for the end of chapter 3. Probably nothing huge, but so if you are already in chapter 3 right now, as you are beginning 3.5, then you might want to finish it up so that you see the end of the story, so that you're not spoiled going into the event. If you are still in Inazuma or earlier, I'd say go at your own risk. The spoilers that I think that they'll give are probably, like I said, medium. They're not going to give away any super huge twists. So, but they will be spoilers nonetheless. If they are going to tell the story, I think they're going to tell. The mailed flower looks like a very interesting sword, a very interesting claymore as far as looks. I don't know the stats yet. I will find those out later, but yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one. I'm certainly looking forward to this. One of the other smaller events that we're going to be doing is the Vibro Crystal Verification. This is a follow-up to an event that we had before. It requires adventure rank 28 and requires you to probably complete all of chapter 1, which is Liwei's chapter. Begins on March 14th and ends on March 27th. This one is interesting. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to get through, but I got through it. I got through the previous version of this without any problems. I think this will probably be a lot of fun if you've never done this before. So look forward to this one, and let's move to the next one. So now we start to get to ones where they didn't really give us start and stop times yet. Spices from the West, Northerly Search. If there is an obvious prerequisite, you probably need to have unlocked your teapot, which is the world quest, A Teapot to Call Home. Even if you have unlocked the teapot, met Tubby for the first time, and then pretended the teapot doesn't exist up until now, you can still do this. It can give you some pretty good opportunities to increase your friendship level with different characters. If it works the same way as it was supposed to the first time, I think this is going to work even better because the teapot is not going to be completely locked down to the point that we can only give the dishes that boost our friendship level with the characters who just happen to be in our teapot when they locked everything down. So I think this will be a lot of fun. Hopefully you'll like it. And then we have Fungus Mechanicus. I don't really know what to say for the prerequisites for this, because this is a follow-up to the Beast Tamers tournament that we had a few versions ago. It is in Port Ormos, which means that you probably want to be somewhere in Sumeru when this begins. You probably don't need to have completed Chapter 3, but being in Sumeru is probably a good thing to do this. But as far as the story, I don't know what to say. It's the Beast Tamers tournament that we did a couple versions ago. So maybe go onto YouTube after this video, type in Beast Tamers tournament, and maybe you'll see a series of cutscenes from that event. That would be the best thing to look for. But there's really no prerequisites to require for this. Okay, so on to what I got done in version 3.4 as far as leveling characters, weapons up, and all that. You can see that I got 2 characters up to level 90, which is what I expected. I got 4 more weapons up to level 90, which was, again, kind of what I expected. I wasn't sure if I'd get 4 because I was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel when it came to enhancement ore. As far as artifact sets, I kind of knew I wasn't going to be getting a lot of them done because I have a lot of characters that need Emblem of Severed Fate. I have a lot of characters that now needs me to look at Blizzard Strayer. So when there's a lot of characters to look through, that means we have to spread the artifact sets out a bit. I was kind of hoping I'd get three. I ended up with two. That's not too bad though. As far as talents, I got two characters all the way up to six. I got um, a total of 12 talents up to seven and eight, and a total of six talents into nine. So no tens this time, but yeah, it was kind of what I expected. It was going to end up. I figured it would be a bit of a stretch to get more than that, and I knew I'd get a lot more talents done than I was going to get anything else. So let's go ahead to the to my Kanban board. Now, some of you may not have seen a Kanban board before, especially if you didn't see my game plan for 3.4, but it looks something like that. There it goes. So you can see on this column right there on the right is everything that's done, working and all that stuff. So we have our estimates updated. I have my estimates updated based on how well I've been doing. I really want to level Nahida up next. I think that feels like she's been waiting in the queue maybe for a little bit too long. She is going to be going all the way up from level 20, so it's probably going to be a lot of work to get her to level 90, but I do have quite a bit of character experience in the books right now, so to speak, so it shouldn't be too hard. Um, as far as the second character, I think that's really going to come down to what I do with the banners, because if Ayaka ends up in the ready to start queue, she's probably going to go next. If not, then I think I'm probably going to finish Kaya finally. I can't imagine I need Kaya and Ayaka both to be level 90, so if Ayaka's ready to start, that's going to take priority over Kaya. So, moving on to the weapons. I don't know if I'm going to get 4 this time. I might get 3. We'll see. I have the mailed flower in the working column right now, even though I don't actually have it yet. That's why it's blocked. I also don't know where and when I'm supposed to get the Ascension materials. Given that this is a Mondstadt quest, it's reasonable to expect that this will be in Cecilia Garden. So as far as whether it's Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, Saturday, we'll just have to find out. I still plan on getting the Serpent Spine from the Battle Pass this time around. Put it on here so I'll remember and not cash it in for something that isn't the Serpent Spine. Of the other ones, that's probably a good thing. It's probably going to be these next 2 under ready to start. Sacrificial Fragments is kind of what I have in mind for Nahida. Blackcliff Longsword would be a good weapon for Kaya, but also be a good weapon for Ayaka if I happen to pull her instead. So have to stay tuned for that. As for the artifact sets, I feel like it's just going to be a bunch of trying to grind through this Emblem of Severed Fates domain as much as I can. Keeping the good artifacts, recycling everything else to Blizzard Strayer so we can get some of these out of the way. Obviously, we'll need to make some room for Nahida for Deepwood Memories at some point. Got some other things on my want to do list as well when things open up. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think that I would be surprised if either one of these columns opens up in 3.5. I think we'll be going into 3.6 with maybe some fine tuning and left to do in both columns, but we'll see. And then for talent levels, this is really going to kind of depend on what happens up here with the weapon. I do not like having a weapon and a talent on the same schedule because that makes it hard to coordinate. So I do want to get Fischl up to level 9 for sure, but if Milled Flower becomes a Wednesday-Saturday schedule, then I'll probably need to find something else to do that's either Tuesday-Friday or Monday-Thursday. Bring Shangling's skills all the way up to 6 is probably as good an idea as any, but there's probably some other things to look at if I look hard enough. So anyway, hopefully this has been of interest to you. If you want to know more about how this Kanban board actually works and how it helps me make sure that I'm not taking on way too many things all at the same time, just let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to make a video on that. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Consider subscribing to this channel and following me on Twitch if you'd like to see more. And I will see you in the next video. Enjoy 3.5, everyone.